Students often use very bland adjectives such as nice, good, went and said. In the first page, we're asked to find better words for nice, and we have a word list below. The little 3-year-old was timid and quiet. If it was incorrect, it would bounce back. Then we do an exercise in finding better words for good. The same for better words for went. In this case, Marcus barged over the try line, dived over the try line. Again, it is a self-correcting exercise. By providing a visual image and sound, students can draw from their own experiences with their senses. In this case, we're asked to put in sounds, sights, touch and smells that we might experience in a rainforest. Chirping, rustling, dripping water, sights, there could be fern, sunlight, shadows, butterflies, touch, could be spongy, damp, maybe prickly. Now smells, could be pollen, it could be rain, it could be decomposing matter. Now that we have the brainstorming words, we can go about writing a descriptive passage utilising those senses. Dump imagery. Or next, the city imagery. Once we've finished this lesson, we have the option of another type of game. In this case, it's a card game of overused word pairs. Good. Once we have all of these gone, the cards reshuffle, so a new game can be played. The next lesson we're going to have a look at is a useful lesson for history and geography skills. Cause and effect. Again, we are given an explanation as to what is the cause and what is an effect. We have exercises where we have to underline the cause in each of the short passages. In this case, Here we have an image of a very angry wolf. This is an excellent lesson for class discussion as to the reasons why the wolf would be so angry. Is it that there is a man approaching with a gun, or is it that she may be protecting her young? Once we've looked at the image, then there's a worksheet associated with that image. Does the scene take place? What caused the wolf to react this way? Is he frightened or angry, and why? What do you think he will do next? In this case, we have to match the cause with the effect. Between 1845 and 51, Ireland's potato crops failed. Now the effect would be that over 1 million people starved and 2 million people emigrated. Overseas visitors enjoy surfing at Coolangatta. The effect of that, a number of tourists drown due to inexperience. Drift net fishing is responsible for killing much marine life. Species like the orange ruffy are now hard to find on menus. And the last two, echidnas have an instinctive awareness of when it will rain. In the wet season, they can be seen moving to higher ground. This worksheet, students have to think about the cause and then an effect. Effect in this case, Sophie always comes first in the exams. What would be the cause of that? Similarly down here, we're given the effect and we have to work out, we're given the cause, we have to work out the effect. Again, no. There's a worksheet associated with cause and effect. In the first case, we are given the effect, and then we have to work out what the cause may be. Similarly, further down, we have the effect that we have to fill in, and we are given the cause. In this exercise, we have to click on the effect in each passage. The effect of the lightning is orange flames. This is a useful worksheet for geography when studying, for instance, natural disasters. We're asked to research the impact on human population, the impact on the environment and on the economy, what relief agencies were involved in this disaster, and the long-term effects of the disaster itself. Now we're ready to look at persuasive language. We have our introduction, followed by an explanation as to what persuasive language is. We need to look at the persuasive techniques, the language in particular. We start with a topic that most students can relate to in some way. In this case, skateboarding. In this exercise, we are asked to click on the skills required to be an Olympic skateboarder. This is self-correcting. Once we have completed that, here we look more closely at the language and the arguments by deconstructing the passage. What's the purpose of the article? What age group would the intended audience fall? Jargon, author's point of view, skills necessary to become a proficient writer. Do you agree with this viewpoint? In this next exercise, we have a letter to the editor. Here we have to identify the persuasive language by simply clicking on them. In this exercise, we have an adverse resort called Rygardes Retreat. It is a beautiful country retreat dripping in comfort and luxury. Once we have read this passage, then we go to the student worksheet and we're asked questions such as the intended audience, where could you expect to read such an item, the writer appeals to our emotions in this advertisement, find some examples. Now we have Rygardes Retreat again, but we have to change the clientele that we're going to be asking to come to this resort. Now students have to rewrite the advertisement with a different clientele in mind. They have to entice a family with 2 teenage children and a baby to come to Rygardes. The language and features have to be altered to appeal to this family. A book review. Book reviews also involve persuasive language. Here we have a comparison between a bland view of a book called Sting and a persuasive review. Students are able to underline the examples of persuasive language in this section. This is a famous speech by Churchill to the House of Commons in 1940. Here the students have to identify the persuasive language